What is good? It's Sherm, joined, of course, by my man Obed. We're here bringing you another great episode of What's the Word Entertainment. What is happening, my friend? You feeling good? I'm feeling good today, man. I'm ready to go. We got a lot to talk about today. As they say, I'm feeling a little dangerous, you know?
Let's get dangerous.
What's going on with you, man?
Living the dream, man. Another beautiful day out here in the city. Weather's nice. I know it's going to get cold again, but I'm happy to have some sunshine and all of the transactions. My goodness, it's going to be a busy one.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot to talk about today. Definitely got a lot to talk about, especially in the NFL. But first, I want to start on really quick. I'm going to talk really quick about some college ball. Your boy Zion Williamson came back the past couple games for the ACC tournament. Woo, did it up, dude. Did you see the first game? He
13
had
13. Oh
yeah, and then the other night I think it was against Syracuse. That first he had damn near took from the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, he is looking good. I don't think there's any problems with the knee right now. I mean, he looks phenomenal. They ended up beating Florida State last night, 73-63 in the ACC tournament. Yeah, I think Zion had 21, 5, and 2, so he looked good. He won the MVP. Yeah. I think Duke is obviously to get a number one seed in the overall NCAA tournament, but I mean, are they a lot to get a number one seed? Possibly. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe that might go to Virginia, but I want to say if they do get this number one, so I'll say whether they do get the number one seed or they don't, do you think that would be the favorite to win the whole thing?
I mean, based on their past performances, it's easy to say yes. And you look at them, it's obvious without Zion, they don't stand a chance. They absolutely need him to be that powerhouse team that we saw earlier this year. Number one seed, man. But as far as winning the whole thing, they need him. Without him, they don't have a chance.
You think so? Okay, I was gonna be my next question. They win without Zion. Yeah, I'm gonna lean towards your call there. I don't think they can win it all without Zion fully healthy. If he's out, I mean, it's going to hurt them a lot. I mean, they probably make it, I don't know, maybe the Elite Eight without him, and that's about it. But I think they definitely need him to win. And I mean, whether they win the championship or not, is it a lock that he's going to be the number one pick in the NBA draft this coming season?
I don't see anyone taking somebody else. I mean, this is a person who could immediately jump into your starting five and make a difference.
Yeah, Yeah, and you mentioned starting five. I think about it. He's going to probably play the 4, but he can play 3 and even a 2 if he wanted to. I mean, he's 6'7", 280, 285, but he's so athletic. He's so athletic. He has handles. He has a jumper. He's definitely all around great ball player. So you know what I mean. I think he can easily play positions 2 through 4, 2, 3, and 4 easily. 5 will be a little bit of a stretch going up against guys like AD or Giannis and things like that.
Yeah.
But I think he can definitely play positions 2, 3, and 4 no problem. Speaking of the NBA, I don't know if you watched the game last night between the Warriors and the Thunder. The Warriors beat them 110-88 in Oklahoma City without Kevin Durant, mind you.
Yeah.
This was I think the second game he sat out. I believe it's a ankle injury.
Yeah.
Curry had 33, 7, and 3. Thompson had 23, 8, and 4. Westbrook only had 7 points, 7 points on 2 of 16 shooting from the field, 8 boards and 9 assists. Paul George, he had 29, 13, and 2. The win obviously pushed Warriors, keeps them at first, but the loss for the Thunder pushes them down to 5th in the Western Conference now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they need home court. I mean, we only got a handful of games left here in the regular season. Season's, just about winding down. This I think tells the toll. Without Kevin Durant, if they can beat the Thunder like that in Oklahoma City, that's a problem. If the Warriors do see them in the second round of the play, let's say Oklahoma will obviously going to make it. We can probably get past the first round. But if they see the Thunder in the second round, the Warriors, I think, just probably actually end up being a sweep. I don't know if you feel the same way, but can the Thunder really overcome, maybe make a push towards the end and maybe get up to that 3 seed? I don't know.
So this is where, conversation that we had about Westbrook, and while what he does is amazing, how not balanced is the Oklahoma City Thunder that if he doesn't bring it, they are not going to win. Much the same situation as Zion with Duke. Without that home court advantage, I don't know. I mean, even with home court advantage, I feel like teams have successfully shown they can go into OKC and run that table, run the floor. So, I don't see them making it. How many games are left? 6, 7, something like that.
But I mean, again, it's got maybe 10 games left, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's not many. Actually, yeah, it might be less than 10. Yeah, 5 or 6 actually. So, and they're 6 games behind the Warriors for first. But I mean, they're within a game and a half of Houston for third place. Okay. So, they could possibly, if Houston loses out and the Thunder win out, whatever the case is, they could get up to the 3 seed. I don't think they're right now they're a half game behind the Blazers. So, and Blazers are so hit or miss. And I also believe CJ McCollum actually got hurt, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he's going to have an MRI on his knee. So I think he might have. So, but I don't think it was a serious injury. I think he was diagnosed with what do you call it? Popliteal strain. Excuse me if I'm saying that wrong. It's in his left knee. So it's no really serious injury. But without McCollum, Damian Lillard cannot do it by himself. That's for sure. So that's why I think the Thunder will end up getting at least a 4th seed, and they could possibly, like I said, get into 3 if Houston has some trouble down the line there. But anyway, moving on. Before we get in the NFL, I wanted to talk to you about football news. Johhny football, old Johhny Manziel is still trying to social job. He signed up recently the Memphis Express of the startup AAF. For you guys that don't know, that's the Alliance of American Football, kind of a league for guys who played in the NFL or trying to get a chance at a shot at the NFL. And Johhny Manziel just got picked up by the team out of Memphis, who actually started 3 quarterbacks so far. Do you see Johhny football ever playing in the NFL again?
I honestly don't see Johhny football playing in the NFL ever again. Honestly, it's looking at what's become of him and just the times that we've seen him get an opportunity to go back on the field for any team. It has just looked worse and worse and worse. So. I mean, I think it's on name recognition that he's getting an opportunity, and I think he has an inability. Whatever he's been doing, he hasn't cleaned himself up, right? And it's indicative of what he's doing to himself, because we remember seeing him or hearing the story about him and when he was with the Browns, his then teammate Josh Gordon getting onto an airplane, both smelling like marijuana. Josh was able to turn his life around, but it looks as though Johhny Manziel has not. I don't think he'll ever play in the NFL again. It's sad, but I didn't know what kind of opportunity he was going to have anyways. This guy running around, pop gun quarterback. I doubt he was going to have a long career, but we won't ever see it again. I don't think.
Yeah, I think it's just more of the off the field issues with him. I don't necessarily think it's all about his ability. I think it's more of the off the field stuff. That's going to really just hinder him. So, but I mean, I wish him the best. I hope that he one day gets back, but he hope he can change his life around first and foremost. And even I know he was playing in a handful of games for the Browns. He did okay in those games, but hopefully he gets his life back on track. Speaking of the Browns, my friend, let's get right into the NFL. The big news last week coming out from Cleveland, grabbing Odell Beckham Jr. from a trade from the New York Giants. I mean, that was definitely the big shocker. It was rumored that the Giants may be looking to consider trading ODB. Obviously, OBJ.
Right. Hey, you used to call him ODB at LSU.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, but his initials are actually OBJ. Yeah. So it was rumored that they were looking to trade him. If something came about, they would. And sure enough, they pulled the trigger, man. The Browns trading for Odell Beckham Jr., sending a first and a third round pick to the Giants, along with safety Jabril Peppers. Yeah. Now, the Giants get the 17th overall pick from the Browns and the 95th overall pick, which was the Browns' second of their third round picks. Browns have honestly one of the best receivers in football now. So you've got Odell on one side, Jarvis Landry on the other side, who's an 100 catch receiver guy. Baker Mayfield's going to have a field day.
Yeah.
You're
not even mentioning Seth DeVal, David Njoku, Higgins, three of the running backs, because I don't know if Duke Johnson's going to stay, but between passing to Kareem Hunt or passing to Nick Chubb or passing to Duke Johnson, it's a Madden roster that they put together.
Right? I'm telling you, I'm saying it. I said the Browns will be winning the AFC North in 2019. Yeah. I'm saying it now, dude. If everyone's healthy, because if people get hurt and Odell's out, I mean, obviously that's going to change everything. And Baker's, the Browns are winning the AFC North. They were 7-1 last year.
Yeah. And there was a lot of controversy behind some of the games that they lost. The NFL did them dirty on a couple of games.
Yeah. And the first game they tied with the Steelers. That was a field goal thing. You know what I mean? Very well just been 8-8. So I'm telling you, the Browns look good. The Browns are on the come up. They're looking at, even if they make the playoffs, they're not going to really do much in the playoffs. They'll probably lose first round. But
Looking at some of the teams that are in the playoffs from the AFC side, if say the Titans made it, the Texans made it, I have got to give the edge to what's coming out of the shuttle or off of the bus and in through the tunnel when it's the Browns that show up. I mean, maybe this is what we've been waiting for, right? They've got everything. As long as I think it's going to come down to that sophomore slump. As long as there is not a sophomore slump and Baker Mayfield comes out here and backs up all the trash talk, I'm going to be all right. Yeah.
And you mentioned Kareem Hunt before. It just came down the other day that he's going to be suspended for the first 8 games of the season. I did hear that he won't appeal the decision. Do you think that's a good idea on his part? I think he should just accept it and just be done with it. Don't try to fight it. I think he should just accept it. I don't know about you.
I think he should absolutely just accept it. In all honesty, that is a slap on the wrist. I
was gonna say, do you think the NFL got it right?
I mean, they did their interviewing process. The fact that it was only 8 games means that they found something there that, to me, did give some validity to what Kareem Hunt told them, right? Going back and looking at what actually occurred or looking at all the stuff, I think they saw it in the situation that, okay, it can't be 6 games because we know that Josh Brown was beating his wife, severely, and we only gave him 6 games, also outside of him being an alcoholic. But because of this, zero tolerance they want to have on it, they had to make a statement. I think there was some validity to what happened. Maybe it shouldn't have been 8. Maybe it could have been longer, but I think 8, perfectly fine.
I honestly thought it would be longer. They were trying. I thought they were going to try and make an example. If they had to suspend them for the entire season, I would not have been surprised. To be honest, with you. Yeah. I would not have been surprised. I think they're just trying to. I thought they really just want to make an example out of the next person. This is the next one up. You saw it before, and Ray Rice, you said Brown, and numerous people just having these problems. These issues.
Hill is now under investigation as well.
I did hear about that as well too. A lot of personal conduct issues. Domestic violence, things like that happening. So I really thought they were just going to drop the hammer on Kareem Hunt. But 8 games now. But now he's only going to miss half the season. So that means he's going to be fresh for the second half of the season when the Browns are really trying to probably make that a push. So I think this benefits sitting out these 8 games. To be honest with you, he's not going to be banged up for an entire 16-game year. So you have Nick Chubb there. He can ride out for the first 8 games, no problem. And then you give Baker maybe another weapon in Kareem Hunt. Then we got Odell and we said in Landry. I'm telling you, watch out for the Browns, people. Watch out for the Browns. They're on the come up. Not saying they're gonna win anything big. They're not gonna be AFC champs and nothing like that. But they are. What's funny? Their odds shot up through the roof. I believe they went from 10-1 to 7-1 to win the AFC after the Odell Beckham trade, and they went from, I believe, 30-1, I believe 15 or something to 1 to win the Super Bowl. So and then their AFC odds are right behind the Chiefs and the Pats, which is wild. So they're not your laughable bottom of the barrel Cleveland Browns that we saw in the past. So they're on the come up. So watch out, folks. The other big news from last week, it was Le'Veon Bell finally getting his deal with the New York Jets, getting 4 years, $52.5 million, $35 million, of which is guaranteed. So that was definitely a big move. Give the Jets a great weapon to have. They were hurt for running backs. They're hurting for a couple of different things. Don't get me wrong. But I think it's a great move for them. He gets to be in New York, a big market, so he gets himself there. The Jets also picked up linebacker C.J. Mosley from Baltimore. They got wide receiver Jamison Crowder from Washington. So I think they're trying to give Sam Darnold a couple pieces and maybe build a defense a little bit. So which is nice, which is good for them.
Yeah, that defense have been, a question mark there. What were they going to do with the new ownership, or excuse me, new management? Really, Jamal Adams is the only guy that you felt like was could be spoken for, deserved to be out there.
Right.
No question as far as paying. So to bring in one of the best middle linebackers, that really helps to, add some solidarity to not just the back end, but in the middle as well, and then maybe give some support to your front four, front five. I think they've made some good moves. So Le'Veon Bell, and America, we are reporting guarantees here. We are not doing this ESPN nonsense of telling you that this person signed for $100 million and only 30% of their money is guaranteed. So they did not sign a $100 million contract. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think right. I think they're all good deals. In 5 years, 51 mil guaranteed for Mosley. That's good for what he's going to put on the field.
Yeah, he's the highest paid middle linebacker in the NFL now.
What do you think Gates is? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, talking about Crowder, but again about Mosley, you were saying?
Yes. No, I wonder how Gase is going to allow this defense to flourish. I'm not sure who his defensive coordinator is. Because he's obviously got a couple pieces he can play with there with Le'Veon Bell and Jamison Crowder to be his, as well as Robbie Anderson and Quincy Enunwa, who I now think will kick outside. But
Donald's got some good pieces. Yeah, Crowder signed 3 years for a $28 million contract, 17 of which is guaranteed. And I was going back to the Browns. As we transition to the Jets, they lost the defensive tackle Sheldon Richardson to the Browns. Now he signed a 4-year, $39 million deal, which 21.5 is guaranteed there. So that bolsters their defensive side. So the Jets front four now is kind of hurting. And now they got Mosley, to help in the linebacking core, but now their defensive line, now Richardson definitely is going to take a hit. So I think in the draft they're going to probably go defense for the Jets. I think they'll go defensive. Now they've got their quarterback in Darn. They've got a couple. They got their running back now in Bell, as you mentioned, Crowder and Enunwa and Anderson. So I think they're okay on offense. They might even try to bolster that offensive line to make sure Darn is healthy. But the Jets they'll be okay. I don't think they're going to win the division or anything, but they'll be all right. I think they'll go defensive and heavy in the draft though.
Yeah, pundits are claiming that this draft is a very defensive-minded draft.
Yeah.
Let's see what some teams do. I think definitely the defensive movements among the league have been interesting to say the least. People are getting paid, but we'll see what happens, how they plan to fill holes when the draft time comes around.
Yeah. The other big news, well, not really too much big news, but the Jags, they got their quarterback. I know we had reported it a couple of weeks ago that he was probably going to go get there with, of course, talking about quarterback Nick Foles coming over from Philadelphia. He did sign his deal, 4 years, $88 million, and $50.1 million guaranteed. That's a big contract for him. Again, he is a Super Bowl winning quarterback and Super Bowl MVP. I get it. Of course, signing Nick Foles, that meant Blake Bortles is going to be out. They of course released him. But do you think Foles is the answer? And do you think Bortles will have a job, whether it be a starting job or a backup job next season?
Sometimes I wonder if Bortles couldn't apply himself and stay on the course as a starter, what do you get in a backup? He would need to have some kind of soul-searching game, a life-changing event happen where he's like, okay, I can play this game at a high level. I need to start doing so. Still gives you that mobility that he has. He can scamper for you. He can find players. He can manage an offense that is based around the run more so than around the pass. And a couple of those might start popping up with some of the hybrids of the pistol formation and RPO formations that we'll see. Could be backup somewhere. Yes, he's got the pedigree to get backup. Will he apply himself as such or just be Willie Beeman on the bench? I assume he will be Willie Beeman. To speak to the Nick Foles signing, good job getting paid. And if it falls off, like I believe it's going to fall off because they have no real weapons out there for him to play with, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about that a week or two ago as well too. They don't really have any weapons for him to throw the ball to. That's the thing. They lost Allen Robinson to the Bears. That was their number one guy. They let him walk in free agency. I mean, I don't. That's I'm gonna go offensively in the draft. Maybe so because they know their defense is nice. They re-signed Marcel Darius. We talked about it. Obviously, they got Ramsey. Was it Calais Campbell too? The defense is still good, so maybe they go offensive. They go minded and then in the draft next month. Get a couple of receivers, maybe a tight end. They haven't had a really good tight end since Julius Thomas years back.
ASJ was out there for a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I mean, so the Jags definitely need a couple of different pieces over at on the offensive side. So I don't think Nick Foles is the complete answer for them. I think he'll do a better job than Blake Bortles did.
Absolutely. I could see that.
Yeah. Moving along, going to the Raiders now. They, of course, we know we talked about last week. They got Antonio Brown from the Steelers, and funny, just really quick, just going back to really quick before we go deep into the Raiders, I want to go back to the Odell Beckham trade just for 1 second. As I mentioned, Antonio Brown, the Steelers gave up Antonio Brown for only a third and a fifth round pick. The Browns got Odell Beckham for a first and a third, and Antonio Brown is arguably better than Odell Beckham. And they got and the Giants got a safety. So they got a player. They got a player. A first and a third round pick. But yet Antonio Brown is only worth getting a third and fifth. Are you kidding me, Pittsburgh? Do better. Are you kidding me? That proves to you they wanted him out of there. That proves they wanted Antonio Brown out of Pittsburgh. They were tired of his shenanigans, and they just wanted something in return. And I think they pulled the trigger too quickly.
I would agree. He pulled the trigger and sent him to Oakland. Okay, fine. Maybe you won't see him. Maybe they won't make the playoffs. You kept him in the AFC. I don't know why you didn't send him to the NFC. I don't know if the offers were coming and who they were. Apparently, he nixed their Buffalo trade that they wanted to make. That situation was just.
I just can't understand that, and it proves it was a bad move because, like I said, the Giants got a first and a third for OBJ. I just had to get that like a comparison.
Absolutely.
I can't believe it, dude. Like
even a second round pick would have made sense if they'd have sent a second and a third, and then a player and got Antonio Brown. It would make sense.
A second and fourth, something, man. I just couldn't believe it.
I gotta say it's the age component. Just him being 30 because you're getting a 24-year-old Odell Beckham. You're 25 years old. He's young as all hell. You're getting before his prime.
But still, but now the Raiders they're doing their job now, man. They just got Tyrell Williams, receiver from the Chargers, and offensive tackle Trent Brown as well too. Williams 4-year deal, $44 million, 22 guaranteed. Brown 4 years, $66.8 million, $36.8 million guaranteed. The Raiders, here we go. Is John Gruden really the mastermind that were we doubting him for the reasons? Is he really now doing the right things? It's still. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it 100% yet, but it's looking like he might know what he was doing after all. He's helping that offense. He's going to focus it around Derek Carr, of course. You got Antonio. Now you got Tyrell. I think they're still needing a running back, but I think in the draft they're going to go defense all the way, because that's where they need the most help. Yeah. And they can make some moves. Don't be shocked.
I think there's something to be said. Your comment about how was this a mastermind? Is it not doing? I mean, it's all of the perception. We spoke about this. It's like if you believe he was going there to save the Raiders, fine. That's why you signed 10 years. You want to do this is a long haul rehaul project. Part of a rehaul project is tearing down what was there. So when we look at it, it's like, what is he doing? What is he doing? This is a tank, full-on reconstruction, clear house, clean it up, start fresh from where you want to be. He's on plan. It's on par, on schedule for the plan that he's trying to put in place. Collect draft picks, as many as you can. Get rid of the old players. Just put together something out there so that the fans have a bit of a game, but understand that this is just for right now. It's not for what we're doing for the future. And then we'll see. We honestly, it's like when a new college coach gets to start manning a team, it's like, well, these aren't his recruits. These aren't his players. We won't know what his team looks like for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
They're ready to ship you out after 1 year. Like against Joseph, it's not right. You got to give this person time to build this dream and see what happens.
Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, like I said again, just as I think the Raiders, they got to go defensive heavy in the draft. I still think they need a running back, but they're giving Derek Carr some weapons, so I think they'll be okay. They'll be okay.
Yeah.
Moving on, the Ravens, they picked up some two big names too. They've got safety. They signed safety Earl Thomas and running back Mark Ingram. Thomas, of course, coming over from Seattle, signed a 4-year, $55 million deal, $32 million only guaranteed. Mark Ingram coming over from New Orleans, 3 years, $15 million. I was surprised at kind of a low number. It's only $15 million for Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
For 3 years, really? I was thinking for 3 years. I mean, I think you should get $30 million.
And I wonder, like, what was your market and what are people thinking about? What's information is out there about Mark Ingram that ended up with this deal? Like, it's a good team, and the Saints didn't want to keep you. Figured that they could get the same kind of production from somebody else. And then you go to the Ravens, where not that you potentially have the chance to be the starter there, since it's Gus Edwards, and Alex Collins took himself out of the equation with his latest arrest, that him being released. It looks like a bad deal for Mark Ingram. I don't know why you would take it and why you wouldn't stay with the Saints. Were the Saints offering much less than this? Like.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there and I was surprised. I mean, leaving that team, because they're such a great organization. I was just surprised. I mean, I guess he just felt that the Saints were just gonna go heavy with Alvin Kamara maybe. And to give him the ball as much. I don't know what it was, but I was surprised that he left, man. The Saints, I mean, they're Super Bowl contenders, each year. So going to the Ravens, the Ravens are kind of doing some things differently now. We're obviously going with Lamar. Obviously, we talked about Flacco trade before. So
run the first offense they're gonna have here.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens with them. But speaking of the Saints. They got a running back to replace Mark Ingram. They got Latavius Murray, coming over from from Minnesota, I believe. So he signed a 4-year, $4.4 million deal. They also re-signed quarterback Teddy Bridgewater to be Breeze's backup again. I think it was 1 year, only for 1 year, $7.5 million, fully guaranteed. I think it also $5 million can be added for incentives, but I think they really want to keep a solid backup in there because they don't know how much longer Drew Brees has left. I think he's got a year, maybe two left. They really they see something in Bridgewater, I think, that he could be their guy going forward. And to learn from somebody like Drew Brees is a blessing, dude. I mean, why would you not want to do that? So I think Bridgewater made the right move. It was a rumor. I think he interviewed with Miami.
Yes.
Right, if I'm not mistaken. That was probably going to be their quarterback there too. But I think it's a better move. Obviously, the New Orleans better organization than Miami right now.
Absolutely.
So I think it was a good idea for him to stay. But the Murray signing, it's going to be obviously Alvin Kamara's team, to lead that way in the running game. But Murray, he'll get some touches. I think. Did you like the move with that one, or?
I did like the move, and just to follow up, the guaranteed money on Latavius Murray's contract is $7.2 million. Okay. So I think that gives you an idea that maybe the max they were trying to do was $7 million for whoever was going to play this backup role, and they're probably going to ride Alvin Kamara a lot more, and maybe that's why Mark Ingram, maybe could potentially be why Ingram was like, all right, I'm leaving. If I can't get more than $7 million out of this team, I don't need to be here. And so I think it's a good move. I think Murray had already coming from a team in the Vikings that, is pretty similar to what the Vikings are for NFC teams. There's the flashy starter with, more of a big body backup back. And he can play that big body backup back role. I mean, if not for Latavius Murray, who knows where the Vikings would have been this past year with Dalvin Cook slowly coming back from the ACL injury.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's if he's healthy, he's a dynamic player, man. Definitely a dynamic player. So I think him healthy, the Vikings will be okay. I know we touched briefly on the on Dolphins. I want to actually get with them real quick. They signed their quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick to a new deal. I think it was 2 years, $11 million, because they traded away Ryan Tannehill. So I quickly on Fitzpatrick. Is he really going to lead the Dolphins anywhere? I don't see it really happening.
Again, it's he's there because potentially they're going to draft somebody. The QB that they draft, heaven help me if it's Dwayne Haskins, because you just don't have. There's too many holes on the team, right? It's almost too many holes on the team to think the first thing you're going to do is bring in a quarterback, and then have no one to throw to. So how much can you actually mature a quarterback if you have no one to play with? They're just Adam Gase and the rest of those numbnuts over there did a number on just really. I mean, the guys are slap D's over here. Like, what are you guys doing? The Dolphins are in a way worse way than they were before. But yeah, it's a stability move. Just put a product out there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Fitzpatrick's really going to do anything for the Dolphins, but the fact that they traded Tannehill shows that they were definitely ready to move on from him. They traded the Titans. The Titans get Tannehill and a 2019 6th-round pick. Dolphins get a 2019 7th-round pick and a 2020 4th-round pick. Now, I know we were kind of talking about it before. I guess you're thinking Mariota. Is he really? Do the Titans think Mariota is their guy? Is there a leader? Is he a franchise QB? I don't know. To me, I don't know. It's still to be seen.
Yeah, but do you think that Tannehill could push? Mariota, who arguably I made a note of it that he's just. I think Mariota is a more mobile, more accurate version of Tannehill. And you look at the comparison of their stats. They're pretty similar going down the board. With Mariota throwing for far more yards the last 3 years.
Okay.
But the passer ratings that Mariota have just fluctuated. He's hit the 90s, but 2017 it's 79.3 passer rating, 15 interceptions to 13 touchdowns. It's a wishy-washy.
More picks touchdowns is not a good look for you.
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of wishy-washy to think that Tannehill is going to come out here and take food off of Mariota's plate. If Mariota's going to show himself to be that franchise guy, he'll have to. But I mean, do you think Tannehill could push him?
Honestly, I think he'll get a chance. I think Mariota will end up getting hurt at some point, like he always does. He always misses at least a couple games, so I think Tannehill will get a shot. But I don't know. Mike Vrabel, I don't know how much he wants to give up on Mariota just yet. I think he can be, but he doesn't have any real weapons, man. I mean, Derrick Henry is a pretty good running back. There's nobody. I mean, then we talked about the AFC South last week. Titans they need to do some different things to give Mariota some help. So
the best receiver is Delanie Walker, and he's a 35-year-old tight end who has a broken ankle.
There you go. So I think Tannehill will get a shot. I think he'll probably start at least 2 or 3 games. At some point the Titans may go, lose 3 or 4 games in a row, and they'll make a switch to Tannehill. Tannehill will be wishy-washy throughout the year, and then they'll go back to Mariota. But at the end,
it's just terrible when teams do that. Like, commit to one guy. That's what they were doing to Tyrod Taylor when he was at the Bills. I'm just like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, dude. As you say that, I hate that too. They go back to one, they go to the other, they go back and forth, dude. You can't get in the that way. If you're gonna let one guy start, just let him. Just because he has a couple bad games doesn't mean. If you felt like this guy is truly better than his backup, and if the starter is having bad games, just let him play out. He's gonna be better anyway.
Absolutely. Just growing pains. We don't panic. We practice. We get better at it.
Exactly. Anyway, moving on. The Bears, they signed safety Clinton Dix to a 1-year, $3.5 million deal. I think this just bolsters this dynamic Bears defense. We saw them, play lights out last year with getting Khalil Mack and everybody. So I think
one player addition one player addition as of Khalil Mack to that defense, and they went just straight to the top. So I can only imagine having like the kind of caliber safety that HaHa Clinton-Dix is, and somebody who used to be on the other side of the ball as a Green Bay Packer, doesn't hurt having that guy back in the division.
Absolutely as well. Washington had made a very big move. They got safety Landon Collins from the Giants. They got him on a 6-year, $84 million deal, which is $44.5 million guaranteed. They also signed running back Adrian Peterson for 2 years, I believe $8 million. They still don't have an answer at quarterback, just yet. But this is a very, very nice move, signing Landon Collins. He's definitely going to help. He's a Pro Bowl safety, so he's going to help that defensive side a lot. I guess how much is he going to help is really the question. I don't know. I mean, do you think it kind of helps that? Do you think Landon Collins can help that defense, beat a defense just off him alone?
Absolutely not. They need corners. I don't know what is going on in Washington, D.C., but living in this area, much like it's par for the course. You spent a buttload of money on one person that we have no idea how that person fits into the actual equation of what's coming. And there's no surprises when you're dealing with the Washington team. So that I think it's just a head scratcher, a puzzling move. A person got paid, and they're just going to trot it back out there again this year. So
yeah. AP, how many years do you think he's got left, man?
I thought he didn't have any years left when he came out and exploded onto the fantasy football scene with his performances. Honestly, I mean, one solid year. We won't know. I don't know how much of AP will see this year if Darius Geis comes back healthy. Darius Geis was probably going to make this offense look a lot more different, make this offense a little more legitimate had he been out there, because you would have had that dynamic running, catching presence next to Alex Smith and opposite Jamison Crowder.
You cut out there for a second. I'm sorry. Say that again about AP. How much comparing him to Geis?
He would if we have Geis as the dynamic version next to Alex Smith across from Jamison Crowder. I think it would have added a little more legitimacy to what they wanted to do last year, as opposed to going into this like old school 90s offense where it's just power I up the gut all the time, because that's what Adrian Peterson is comfortable for.
He's not a guy who's going to get 450 catches out of the backfield either too. He's that power running back, that you're going to use in first and second down, even, so he's the guy, he needs the ball 20 to 25 times a game, just running up the gut, running through the tackle. So, but, good for him still getting a deal. Moving on to probably the AFC favorites for next year, the Chiefs. They cut some longtime staff members, man, getting rid of linebacker Justin Houston as well as safety Eric Berry. I know Barrett had numerous injuries, the leukemia before, an ankle injury or something like that. I can't recall. Achilles injury, excuse me. But to replace him, they did get Tyrann Mathieu from the Houston Texans, a 3-year, $42 million deal, which is good for them. But the Chiefs, man, I was kind of surprised letting go of Justin Houston. Honestly, I think that was just a money move to me. They just didn't want to pay him. I think they get $15 million this year or $17 million, something like that. So I think that was a pure money move to me.
So my thing is, okay, you cut Justin Houston, but then you also let Dee Ford walk.
We're going to he went to the Niners, I believe. They traded him. They didn't let him walk. They traded him away.
Oh God, they shipped him off. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so they did it themselves. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know what their Chiefs defense. I mean, they're gonna have to do a lot this off season, and pick up pieces there, because the Chiefs defense, if they want to still be at the top, be an elite team, they're gonna have to start making some real moves on the defensive side. Most of that lineup there, because
it wasn't the offense that was keeping them down. The offense was definitely, not to cut you out, that offense was what was putting them on the map and making them a dangerous thing to deal with. Honestly, it was when their defense was on the field that they were having problems. They just have not strong.
Getting rid of these guys makes your defense worse. That's my point. So it's like I don't understand it. So I mean, I get Eric Berry. He's played in what, 2 or 3 games in the last couple of years. It's like he's just been injured. So I feel, yeah. Tyrann Mathieu is definitely a playmaker. He'll help them out quite a bit. So good for him getting that deal. And you mentioned D Ford getting traded from to the Niners. I think he got 5 years, $85.5 million, which is $33.35 million guaranteed. And the Chiefs got a 2020 second pick for him. They also signed running back Tevin Coleman, which was interesting. You've got the kind of a loaded backfield, if I'm not mistaken.
Very loaded backfield for the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Jerick McKinnon still coming off injury, Matt Breida. I think they also re-signed Raheem Morstead.
Yes, they did.
So, I mean,
why do you think Mostert would resign, knowing that Breida's still in that room? Coleman and McKinnon, who both have experience with the head coach there, and Shanahan, are on the team, and Jeff Wilson, handpicked by him, is also on the team as well.
I mean, to me, Coleman is it's going to be between Coleman and McKinnon for the starting job. I think they'll probably split the carries.
Yeah.
But I think Coleman might edge him out, but because McKinnon's coming off the ACL injury, if I'm not mistaken, so how healthy is he really going to be?
Yeah.
But the Niners, it's funny talking about the Niners. I thought they had a chance of getting Antonio Brown. To be honest with you, that would have been nice, given Garoppolo, who also coming off an ACL injury, a nice weapon. So he needs some pieces. I mean, because I know he's gonna need some help. He's still a young guy in this league, so he's gonna need some help on the offensive side. So
Niners were linked to OBJ before he made the move before he was sent to the Browns. So
really, I did not know that. Yeah, I think that's somebody they should have made a move for. If you giving him Garoppolo a weapon like that, I mean, giving anyone a weapon like that is of course is a great move. But I think Garoppolo needs a dynamic weapon like that, especially. But even just like Mayfield does, he needs dynamic weapons to kind of help him out since they're so young. But make him younger than Garoppolo, But I don't know what the Niners are going to really do running back, man. It's definitely a crowded backfield there, so I'm not really sure. Also, really quick, going back to the Giants, they got Tate coming over from the Eagles in a 4-year, $37 million, 23 guaranteed. I don't know. Losing OBJ, Golden Tate's not really equal.
They're playing small ball in New York. They're playing small ball. It ain't going farther than 6 yards from the line of scrimmage. So
it's only Eli can throw it, and they're committing to Eli for 2019.
You know what? Fire Pat Shermer. Fire him. Clear house. Get these get Gettleman. Fire him. Get them all up out of here.
I think they're doing it just off general principle, man, because he's been there his entire career. He's a 2-time Super Bowl winning champion. He's a future Hall of Famer. They weren't going to just cut him. They're just doing it to save face. Like, listen, Eli, we know we've been the face of this franchise for the last 15 years, whatever it is. They're not going to cut him. 2019 will realize last year in New York and probably the NFL overall. I don't think he's going to play for another organization. I think they didn't want to cut him, just prematurely. So I think they know they're going to have another bad year. They're going to have to go, they're going to rebuild, starting with, obviously they've already started with Saquon Barkley last year. They're going to need a lot of different pieces. So I think this is just rebuilding time. They're probably going to look at getting maybe Dwayne Haskins in the draft. We'll see. Yeah. But they're going to, last year was the year to get a quarterback because it was low at quarterbacks. But they went with
That's what I was saying. Can we like go back in time? Can we go back in time, the second round, that second pick, and either pick up one of the guys that were drafted that you missed out on, go and get Sam Darnold, have him in the training room, force Eli's hand versus bringing guys like who is the I can't remember the old coach that they had, the coach that was just fired recently that they replaced. When he benched Bob McAdoo, the former quarterbacks coach from the Green Bay Packers, a quarterback coach who had seen Aaron Rodgers in his prime and an aging Brett Favre, and knows when you're not getting it done in practice as a quarterback, you don't need to be on the field. Reason why he benched him, and then he became a scapegoat for, I guess, people feeling sorry for Eli Manning's emotions or whatever, what have you. So when when OBJ comes out, he's just like, why can't we throw a pass more than 20 yards? And they try to, oh, we're going to play got you, OBJ. Well, hey, OBJ, why don't you throw the ball? And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to throw a 57-yard strike to Saquon Barkley. And I'm going to throw another, 40-yard strike to Sterling Shepard. Yeah, OBJ is now throwing touchdown passes downfield that Eli Manning can no longer make, right? It just...
Yeah, the Giants, I think they're just a mess. They need a lot of work. Moving on, goes really quick. Lions, they picked up a couple of weapons too. Well, a couple guys. Receiver Danny Amendola and defensive end Flowers. Amendola had a 1-year deal, $4.5 million. Flowers 5 years, $80 to $85 million, I believe, which is guaranteed. Good for the Lions. The Detroit Patriots. Some are calling it now.
Absolutely.
So. What's to say? Patricia wants to, get some of his guys that he was familiar with, so he's picking them up. But good for them.
We need all the help we can get out there. They did actually. The Lions also signed Jesse James, which I thought was a very good pickup
from Pittsburgh. From Pittsburgh.
Yes. If I can find. I'm sorry, typing in the wrong window here. I'll get you some guaranteed numbers, figures here.
Wow, I did not realize they picked up Jesse James. Yeah, he's a good young tight end, out of Penn State from a couple of years ago. I think that kind of helps Matthew Stafford out a little bit, gives him another added little weapon, maybe in the red zone there, which is nice.
What they were missing when they tried to bring in Gronk last year apparently was the move. They wanted to bring Gronk in, and I think that's what they need. They need a tight end, a guy who can go up the seams for them, because it's going to be open when you have those two huge wide receivers out there, Marvin Jones Jr. and Babytron.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Holiday in. So Jesse James, 4 years, $22.6 million, 10.5 guaranteed. He'll be there for a few years. I think he's a guy, big, strong, sure-handed guy, tall guy. I think he's like 6'7", 6'8". Definitely will help open things up. It'll be a tall passing attack out there in Detroit.
Gotcha. Colts also signed a receiver, Devin Funchess, still 1 year, $10 million deal. Gives Andrew Luck another little weapon, again. But I mean, it's not a big pickup, but they have T.Y. Hilton, you know what I mean? So just somebody else would look to go to.
We talked about their needs from last year. We talked about their needs coming into this draft, into this free agency season, that they probably need a wide receiver, because they only had Zach Pascal and T.Y. Hilton under contracts. So here's their third guy, I guess.
Yeah. The other wide receiver move, which was kind of big news, Tampa Bay trading wide receiver Deshaun Jackson back to Philadelphia. The Eagles get Jackson in the 2020 a 7th-round pick, and the Bucs get a 2019 6th-round pick for Deshaun. He wanted out of Tampa Bay quick, fast, and in a hurry, yo. It was not a good look. I just don't think he got on with the staff. I mean, I thought it was going to be a success with Mike Evans on one side and on the other side. I thought it was like, man, they're going to light it up together.
It was all Jameis Winston's fault. It's all Jameis Winston's fault. His inability to get the ball downfield, for them to connect, for them to have, and then Jameis Winston gets in trouble, so he doesn't get to play as consistently or really play much at all until later on in the year. So he can't build that rapport. And it looks like Arians was like, hey, he's just not in our plans. We have Chris Godwin who can do that underneath stuff. I believe that they also have Adam Humphries still there, or I don't know if he's re-signed with anyone.
I think he left, and when I can't recall where he left, but I think he's gone as well too from Tampa Bay. But now
the Pats are gonna get him.
Carson Wentz has a deep threat now in Deshaun Jackson, which is good for him. Obviously, of course, he's got to be healthy. So obviously the Eagles are committed to Carson Wentz after letting Nick Foles walk. So Deshaun Jackson, definitely good pickup. And the Buffalo Bills, they've got to make some couple moves strictly on the offensive side, which they needed desperately. They got receiver John Brown, receiver Cole Beasley, running back Frank Gore, the veteran running back Frank Gore, and tight end Tyler Kroft. Brown got a $27 million deal. Beasley, 4 years, $29 million, 14 of which guaranteed. Gore, just a 1 year, $20 million deal, probably veterans minimum. And Kroft, 30 years, $18.8 million. As you see, what these moves tell me, the Bills are committed to Josh Allen giving him what they want to put some pieces around it for him to develop. Now, these aren't the best, top of the line weapons. It's not, like you mentioned before, Buffalo was trying to get AB. It's not AB or anything like that, but it's pieces that will help Josh Allen develop,
Absolutely.
which I think is key. Do you like any of these moves, or do you like all of them? Do you like none of them? What kind of stands out with the Bills when they come here?
So John Brown played his college game at Pitt, so maybe being back in the cold will be good for him. People with sickle cell disease don't really do great in the super high altitude, so maybe hopefully cold will do some good for him. He's a stud. Yeah, right. He's a stud. He's had some great seasons under his belt. I want to see him keep that going. Josh Allen does have the big arm, so somebody that can actually take advantage of him. The reason Brown didn't stay with the Ravens is because there was no balls coming his way with accuracy from Lamar Jackson. It just wasn't a thing.
Right.
Beasley gives you somebody underneath, run those quick routes for you, and those that intermediate for you. And Croft gives them some sure hands because they didn't really have a tight end out there.
No,
I think
Charles Clay's gone. I think he went to Miami, if I'm not mistaken. How much really was he doing? No,
not much of anything. So yeah. It's bring pieces it's not the greatest cupboard of things to look into or look at when you open it up, but these are pieces to help this kid come along. Like, hey, maybe he gets off of these training wheels. We sign him to a better contract when he gets paid, or if he does get another contract. And in the course of that, you bring in a stud wide receiver, you bring in a stud running back, you keep building. The Bills are in the process of their rebuild, and while they might catch the Patriots every now and again on one game and keep it exciting, this team isn't really going anywhere fast. They're just working on building up their players.
Absolutely, yeah, 100% agree with you, man. There's been a lot of free agency this year, and it's funny because free agency just started last week, but yet it's pretty much already over. Many moves we got to recap here this week. Definitely a lot of news going on in the NFL. I'm excited for the draft coming up in maybe just about a month's time or so, something like that. So I'm definitely looking forward to the draft. We'll see what's going to happen there. That's going to do it for our time this week. Next week we'll be back again with some more action. We'll continue our divisional roundtable then. Any last words from you, Obed? Anything else to say for the people?
Guys, it's been a pleasure to come out here on your screens. Make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us at What's the Word Entertainment. Can't wait to see you again next week.
Absolutely. Said it best, my friend. Thank you. I appreciate it, and I will see you again. Take care, man. Peace.
Take care. See ya.